First of all, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for coming tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I think everybody probably does in this room. My name's Coulthard. I'm currently doing my second year of my foundation science degree out at Maesco College in Coulthard. I'm actually studying golf performance. I'm here to talk to you tonight about putting. There's been quite a few research articles done relating to putting. One of the more recent ones was done in 2005, which was done by Alexander and Kern, and found that putting was one of the most important skills in determining the earnings of PGA Tour professionals. It was also found that amongst elite players, 43% of the shots that they played were putts. So McIlroy last year averaged 69 shots around according to the PGA Tour. So 43% of that, 30 of his shots were putts on average in his rounds. Now, things like that, it doesn't take into such items as greens and regulation, how often they've gone up and down, but that's just a sort of general overview. When we're actually looking at putting, it's important to make sure the putter face is square when coming to impact. From a distance of 4 foot from the hole, if your putter face is either 2 degrees open or closed, you will actually miss the hole completely. Now, you go out to 8 foot, you've got 1 degree, and 12 foot, I think it's about 0.54 of a degree that you can be out before actually missing the hole completely. Now, to me, those are minute figures for those sorts of distances. We also looked at a guy called Dave Peltz, who did a lot of putting research. He's also worked with Tiger Woods and players like that. What he suggests is that 83% of a starting line of a putt is determined by the face angle at impact. And the other 17% is actually by the direction in which the putter is travelling. Again, how difficult is that to work out just by looking from a visual effect? You couldn't see it. So, what we're now noticeably seeing in both the amateur and the professional games is players are starting to use these thicker grips. Now, what this does is it tries to take out the wrist movement and the hand movement to try and stop the manipulation of the wrist through the ball. We're also seeing that there's a lot more different methods of holding the putter. You tend to have your conventional grip, which is your lead hand high, so for a right-handed player, your left hand will be at the top of the putter. You have your reverse grip, which is again is just the complete opposite. Your lead hand will be low, so your left hand will be at the bottom of the putter. And you also have your claw grip, which is being seen a bit more now throughout the game. What I want to do is I want to see, well, does any grip produce better results through the game just by looking at actual face rotation through the impact position. There's a lot of research out there with regards to putting. Looks at how music can affect putting. Ernie Els has actually been out and been looking at an eye specialist to improve his reaction time, which has seen an improvement in his performance. There's studies which have looked at how head and eye movements are affected by different putting grips, and there's a lot of information with regards to how psychology affects putting, looking at imagery and also looking at putting confidence. One of the areas that seems to, in my opinion, have been missed is how different grips can actually affect face rotation through the ball. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at 4 different grips. I'm going to be looking at your conventional grip. Now, as we know, currently used by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. Both have been #1 in the world. Tiger Woods potentially probably should still be #1, but for the fact of injury. Obviously, McIlroy, absolutely stunning season, and he's proven himself that he is world #1. I'm also going to be looking at the reverse grip. Now, it's becoming a bit more common on tour, but there's still quite a few players that are using this. Jordan Spieth played here in 2008 in the Junior Open, currently 14th in the world, but his highest rank has been up to #8. And Ricky Fowler, probably one of the most flamboyant with his dress sense, but he's world #9 for a reason. What is that reason? I'm going to be looking at the claw grip. Two of the most common golfers in the world, Sergio Garcia, Phil Mickelson, again, both been up to #2 in the world. So why are these players, 6 completely different golfers, why are they all able to get to world number 2, world number 1 in some cases, without actually having the same putting grip methods. When we're looking and saying, well, 43% of their shots are puts. Well, and the other thing, why are we not teaching this baseball grip? Whenever anybody begins to learn golf, they all look and they all learn with a 10-finger baseball grip. Well, is there something not in there that says, why are we teaching this from an early age, and why aren't we teaching them one of these more preferred or more commonly used methods? So, for the actual research project, I'm going to be using the sample lab system. What it is it's a little receiver box which you stand on the floor. It sits probably 12 to 20 inches away from the putter. You have a triplet which is actually attached to the putter. You can just about make it out on this image. And what that does is that sends a signal between the box and the receiver. It measures 6 different aspects and 6 different elements of putting. So I'll quickly skim through these. It gives you initial aim, so where your putter face is aiming before you've even made any attempt at a putting stroke. It gives you your direction of your putting path, so it will give your face aim position at impact, and it will also give you your path direction at impact. Okay. It gives you your path and spot, so it tells you where your actual putter path is going, but it also gives you an idea as to your impact position. It gives you your loft and rise. It tells you how much you're actually coming up through the ball, and it gives you predicted launch angles. Launch angles is something which European tour standards and American tour standards, they look for about 2 degrees of launch. When we did this particular individual's testing, he produced a launch angle of 5.9 degrees, which again, might not seem like much, 4 degrees, but when you go back to those figures before of actual consistency and alignment, and we go look at 2 degrees from 4 foot and actually missing the hole, it's quite, you're nowhere near at all. Then we get on to face rotation, so how much the putter face is moving, and we also get on to the movement dynamics, so how quickly you should be swinging the putter for the certain distances. What I want to look at is this one. I want to look at face rotation and how these different grips actually affect it. Due to the natural arc of the shoulders throughout the swing, you're always going to get some rotation, or you should do. If you don't, it's more than likely that you're manipulating the putting stroke in some way with your wrists or with your shoulders, or in some way, shape or form. Now, ideally, yeah, you'd like to keep the putter face square, but it's just not possible in a realistic world. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for 3 players. Well, I'm actually looking for 6 in total. I'm looking for 3 category 3 players and 3 category 1. Now, category 1 are invariably your elite high-level amateur golfers. Yeah, they are going to be looking for game improvement in the same way as your club players are. But I think these are the people who are striving to sort of get onto tour level, maybe get into the lower ranks of the professional world of golf. And then I'm looking for your category 3. Now, it says up here it's your average club player. That doesn't mean that that's what a category 3 player is. When you look at the research and you look at the average handicaps across the world for a male golfer, the average golf club handicap is 18.4. Okay? Now your category 3 goes from 12 to 19. So that, although it suggests that it's the average handicap, for this particular study, I only want to look at category 3 and category 1 because they're where you're likely to see your majority of your players, and that's where you're hopefully going to see the biggest improvements. Unfortunately, the testing's out at Myerscough College in Garstang. I know that's a bit off-putting for some people. It'll be done over 2 sessions, and it'll take approximately 40 minutes to complete each session. What I'm hoping to achieve, ideally, I'd like to see one of the methods of holding the putter actually produce better results. But if not, then that's fine as well. What it shows is that it might not affect that particular part of the study, and it might not affect face rotation, but it might affect something else which I've not initially looked into. I want to look at sort of what are the other limitations, what are potential reasons as to why some of these methods might produce a better result, why not. But also looking at the technology, how suitable is this technology? It's one of the cheaper pieces of technology out on the market. It's been around the longest, but it's also well recognised. Harold Swash Putting School use it down the road at Formby Hall. It's been used by Paul Hurrian down at Quintic, who works with a lot of European tour players. But from Paul Hurrian's point of view, he's just developed another piece of software. Because what he looks at is, what's the ball doing? We know what the putter face is doing, we've got loads that we can tell as well. But he's now developed something called a Quintic ball roll. Unfortunately, it's about £40,000 to £50,000. So it's not a viable option for us to have it within the university, which is why we've got the Sandput lab. What will you get out of it? Well, as a participant, you'll get the opportunity to have your own putting technique analysed, see where your areas for improvement are, or if one of these methods, you might not get one method that produces best results for everybody as a collective, but what it might do is it might show yourself or myself, well, for me as an individual, or for you as an individual, that the reverse grip method might produce better results. But unfortunately, we won't know that until all the testing's been done. So you might just find that by altering something as simple as ball position, you might be able to improve your own current putting stroke, and that might be the option for the best results for you as an individual. Has anybody got any questions?
Are you focusing it on both genders, because that very much came out as men?
With regards to the study, it does focus on both genders.
Yeah.
However, certainly in any other putting studies that have been done and any other golf studies that have been done, the results have been found that even if male and female golfers have been used, or purely male or purely female, it's always anticipated that the results will be the same no matter on gender or dexterity of the actual participant groups.
Do you use your own putter, or do you provide the putter?
It'll be using your own putter, however I'll be providing the golf balls. What I want is people to feel comfortable in what they're trying to do. I don't want them to stand there with a putter that they're not familiar with to try and change what they're trying to do to marry up with that putter as well. So it'll be your own putter, but it will be the 4 different methods of holding it with your own putter. By providing balls, what I'm hoping is that it will give scope for further research in the future, so that depending on what happens with this study, I've got the opportunity then to actually go further with it and decide, well, this hasn't found anything, but these might, and these are other aspects which I can then go into and look at. But by providing a golf ball, it gives one constant variable within the factors that has to be taken into consideration for further studies.
Have we got enough commandos?
The people that you choose, or the people that do it, they will just use their own particular putting stroke, or will you?
No, it's their own putting stroke.
Yeah.
All I'm actually changing is the method in which they're holding the putter. So whether they use the conventional method.
Oh, I see. Right. So you change it. Like if I use one way, you get me doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Each participant would do all 4 methods on 2 lots of testing. So you'd hit 10 putts with the conventional, 10 putts with the reverse, 10 putts with the claw, and 10 putts with the baseball grip. So in total you'd hit 40 putts in one session, and then you'd come back and do another session, I think it's about 3 to 4 weeks later, and do another 40 putts using each of the grips.
Could you guarantee my handicapped riches?
Could you guarantee me a figure like Michelle Wee with her?
Unfortunately
Please.
Unfortunately, no, that's not something we can guarantee. If I can just ask, if anybody's got any more questions, if they can just fill out those feedback questionnaires, and if you think of anything while you're filling them out, it'd be much appreciated if you just want to give me an ask, and I'll quite happily try and answer it for you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just one question
Yeah.
before you finish. Do you have
have you got all the, are you looking for additional volunteers?
I'm
or-
still looking for more participants as it stands, yeah,
In which categories?
in both categories. Category 1 and Category 3.
So it's, are you category 1, Dave?
Category 2 included, we're category 2.
Category 1 is up to 5,
And 3
then
is, what did you say,
5 to
12 to
5 to 12
19?
and then 12 to 19,
Alright, so
or 13 to 19, sorry.